Hello, all. This is Y. You're listening or watching the Bible reading series and commentary. We are on Genesis 12. If you have not watched the first video, please do so. I do suggest listening to all the chapters in order, just kind of to understand what's going on. However, if you're hopping in, I start with the King James, Matthew 6:9 through 13, the Lord's Prayer each time. So here we go. After this manner, therefore, pray ye. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Now to Genesis 12, King James Version. The header here is Abram journeys to Egypt. Now the Lord had said to Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land I will show thee. And I'll make of thee a great nation. I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east, and there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. There was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. It came to pass that when Abram was into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and oxen, and he asses, and men servants, and maidservants, and she asses, and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with a great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. That ends the reading portion. So, just light commentary from me here, because there's quite a bit in the rabbinical commentary. So the map of Abram's journey started in Ur, or the Fertile Crescent, down here, and through modern day Iraq, up through Babylon, and then to Haran. This is where he's called. If you listen to the chapter 11, Terah, his father, basically, let's double check that. I'm pretty sure Terah is his father. Begat Abram. Yep. Just double checking. His father and him and Haran had a very interesting interaction between idols and Nimrod, basically. And so at this point, Abram leaves Haran and heads down towards what is considered the Promised Land, which is now modern-day Israel. So this here is the Canaanite area next to the Mediterranean Sea in the land of Egypt here. So I'm pretty sure the Hittites are up on this northern region if you're watching. So imagine if you're not watching the video and just listening in, modern day Syria, where you have Iraq up against the mountains there, and you have the Red Sea. Well, actually, it's not the Red Sea. That's, oh man. What is that? Now I can't remember. Anyways, to the southeast, towards that mountain range, you have and as it's going up and through the Fertile Crescent, where the two rivers, the Euphrates, you have Babylon, modern-day Iraq. Up north, you have the Hittites, which is where Haran is kind of at. There's also another nation here that's involved. And then moving down into where the Canaanites are, or Canaan here, back down into Egypt, which is interesting because the Israelites, they move into Egypt basically from Canaan, and then they exfil back to it, and it's a different land. But we'll get there later. Anyways, like I said, mild bit from me. The overarching themes that I can see here is that Abram is called out by the Lord, like he has a sense of leaving his house, leaving his father's house, leaving. It has risks, especially in this time frame. I mean, it's not like they had highways, gas stations along the way, grocery stores. I mean, whatever they would have to eat, they would have to find along the way. You're going into a completely different nation. These people don't know you, per se. So there's a loss of recognition, I guess you could say. So all of these things are problems. But the Lord says that he's going to bless thee and make thee great, and you shall be a blessing. But he also says that I will bless thee, bless those that bless thee, and curse those that curse thee. So the Lord is promising that he'll care for Abram as he ventures forth. Here, I guess my commentary is a little bit longer than I expected. One of the things to think about is Bethel, which I stopped at this Hey word because I knew that I'm mispronouncing it. I'm going to try to be better at that. But Bethel, I guess would be more appropriate. It is actually the house of the Lord. So if you separate the word, El is Lord, Beth is house, and then if we go into this here, it says Bethel equals house of God. Ancient place and seat of worship in Ephraim, or in border of Benjamin, and if identified with Luz, and a place in south country of Judah, not far from Beersheba and Ziklag. So this word here, what I'm trying to say is that Abram is setting up an altar, saying that this is the house of the Lord. He has come to me. I guess that's interesting in my head because we talked about the ziggurats and how the Lord comes down, and here's Abram in the middle of a desert, and he's got a pile of rocks that he's fashioned, and he says, "This is the house of the Lord." Whereas Ahi, this AI, is actually, it means heap of ruins in the Aramaic, which is Hebrew. Later on, a city lying east of Bethel, and beside Bethaven, near Jericho, and the second city taken on invasion of Canaan. All that to say, this is referencing that area that Abram had come from. If you're looking at the map that I have, he's referencing this area over here. There is nations, and that is ruin. He's saying that over here is ruin, but this is the house of the Lord. And moving out of that one, I think there might have been one other major word bit here that I saw, but I'm not remembering it. My mind is really not wanting to help me today. So we get into this other story. So we have him leaving, God promising that he's going to take care of him. In fact, overly take care of him. He's going to make him great, make thy name great. And then he leaves Shechem. That's what it is. This word here, which, and more, more. So these are the two words that I was thinking about. Shechem, not Shechem. Shechem is back or shoulder son of Hamor, the chieftain of the Hivites. So like Shechem at the time of Jacob's arrival. So once again, this is this reference here. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of More, and the Canaanite was then in the land. So this is that voyage that I was saying up here towards the Hittites. And as he moves further, it comes to Abram's attention that his wife is fair to look upon. Which, if you think about the fact that they're on this journey, then he is. Sorry about my dog. I guess I'll just talk through it. Sorry about that. And Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And behold, his wife art a fair woman to look upon. So he's concerned that when he gets to this land, there's some context in the rabbinical commentary that is a little bit crass in my opinion, but we have to think in that time frame. You know, we can't look back with a historian fallacy, is what I'm going to say. But he's concerned that the Egyptians are going to take his wife from him when they get there, because she looks different, and she's also beautiful. After all this travel, he's still admiring that. So God has kept his wife beautiful. So he tells her, instead of saying that you're my wife, because they'll just kill me and then take you, then call me your brother, and they won't kill me. In fact, they'll bless me for you. Which, if I read between the lines, I think he's actually saying that there's a bit of like we'll take you, you're going to be my sister, they're going to take you, and then they're going to give me a whole bunch of stuff. Is kind of how I'm seeing that, but that might just be reading too far into it. But then the Lord plagues Pharaoh's house to maintain that Abram's wife is not slept with by Pharaoh and his people, because God has promised that he is going to bless Abram through his wife. That's the thing. And so if that goes on, and we'll see what this plague is here in a second in the rabbinical commentary, or at least what they assume it is, that if Pharaoh was to sleep with her, then there would be question of whose child is it, right? So we'll move over to that. A lot of text here, but this essentially, like I was saying, go to you for your benefit, for your good. There I'll make you into a great nation. So from the very beginning, and the Lord said to Abram, go forth from your land and from your birthplace and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. And there I'll make you a great nation, but here you will not merit to have children. So he's saying, like, if you stay here, you won't have kids. But if you go, I'll make offering an option here. Moreover, I'll make your character known in the world. From your land, now, so this part, go forth from your land. Now had he not already gone out of there with his father and come as far as Haran? Rather thus did he say to him, distance yourself more from there and leave your father's house. So why I keep on referencing, this map. I could use other maps, like this one here, and they're all pretty much the same. This may be a little bit more specific, but what that's referencing is Abram and Terah came from Babylon, Mari, up into Haran. And now God's saying, move further. I want you to go even further. That I will show you. He did not reveal the land to him immediately in order to make it clear or make it dear in his eyes and to give him reward for every command. Your son, similarly, in 22:22, your son, your only one, whom you love, Isaac, and on one of the mountains that I will say to you, and proclaim upon it the proclamation that I will speak to you. So basically, when you get there, I will reveal more, and I will make you into a great nation. So since traveling causes these three things, as I mentioned, it diminishes procreation, diminishes money, diminishes fame. The Lord's going to bless him in that meaning because, he's saying, trust me, even though this doesn't make any sense, but I will aggrandize you. I'll add a letter to your name as another. So the name change will happen. He will go from Abram to Abraham. And now one of the cultural things, or at least in some forms of Islam, oh man, I was about to make a really big mistake there. Jewish faith is, from now on, your name will be, and it gives us the two different names, equals 248. So this is in some areas of Jewish faith, numbers have a whole lot of meaning. So 248 corresponding to a person's limbs. I didn't know that we had 248 limbs, but maybe that's just they're talking about something other than like arms and legs, appendages maybe. Anyways, once again, something that I guess to me doesn't really mean a whole lot, but your name will change happens quite a few times in the Bible, so I will assume that, this name change is significant, which it is, because he becomes from Abram to Abraham, and I will bless you with money. So God says that I will take care of you, and you shall be a blessing. You're entrusted into your hand. The blessings are entrusted into your hand. Until now, they were in my hand. I blessed Adam and Noah. From now on, you may bless whomever you wish. Another explanation, and I will make you into a great nation. This is the basis of saying the God of Abraham, and I will bless you. This is the basis of saying the God of Isaac, and I will aggrandize your name. This is the basis of saying the God of Jacob. You might think that the first benediction, silent prayer, should be concluded by mentioning them all. Therefore, Scripture states, "And you shall be a blessing. With you they will conclude, and not with them." This is a ritualistic piece here. Basically, the prayer ending will state this. Instead of saying all of them, it will just be the God of Isaac or the God of Jacob. Instead of naming all of them. Anyways. I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse, and all the families of the earth shall be blessed in you. Shall be blessed in you. There are many Agadoth, but this is its simple meaning. A man says to his son, may you be like Abraham, and so is every instance of the words, shall be blessed with you in Scripture, and follow the text proves this. With you, Israel shall bless, saying, may God make you like Ephraim and like Manasseh. Just referencing the fact that, may you be like Abraham, and in your character, your stature. And so this goes into a whole lot of the acquisition of all the individuals that went with Abram and Sarai from Haran. There was maidservants and manservants, that went along. However, this is referencing the fact that he got the manservants and Sarai got the maidservants. In essence, they converted them to believing in God. Passed through the land until the place of Shechem, until the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanites were in the land. Abram passed through the land, so he went through until the place of Shechem to pray for Jacob's sons when they would come to wage war in Shechem. So I'm wondering if this is a future thing or I'm just misunderstanding it, but take that as you will. Until the plain of Moreh, this is Shechem. He showed him Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, where Israel accepted the oath of Torah. So this is he's bringing him through the places in which God will present things to the people of Israel. And the Canaanites were then in the land. The Canaanite, was gradually conquering the land of Israel from the descendants of Shem, for it fell in Shem's share when Noah apportioned the land to his sons, as it is said in Melchizedek the king of Salem. Therefore, and the Lord said to Abram, to your seed will I give this land. I am destined to restore it to your children, who are the descendants of Shem. So we see in this area that he's moving, that the Canaanites are conquering this area, right? Excuse me. But God promises the land to them. And the Lord appeared to Abram, and he said, to your seed I will give this land. So, and there he built an altar to the Lord in thanksgiving for the good tidings concerning his descendants and the good tidings concerning the land of Israel. So this is a moment in which, Abraham is giving thanks to the Lord. So there's a lot of movement of Abram at the time. He's moving through the land a moment at a time, kind of every other month, continually traveling here through the land. And there was a famine that happens. This famine presses Abram and all of his people into to Egypt to sojourn, which is one of the first times that we start to see this word sojourn. Sojourning is a word that's referencing a people that are moving into a land that is not their own. So I guess I would sojourn if I had to move from America into, let's just say Mexico for, whatever reasons, and I lived in Mexico. I would technically be an American living in another country. That's what sojourning is. I would be sojourning there because the famine was severe in the land. A famine in that land alone to test him. So they're saying that God sent this famine to see if Abram would speak ill of the Lord. Think of it like this, but God, you promised me all these things. I know in myself, I've thought this before. We need to remember that even in these times that God has promised, he will provide. Keeping our mind on him is the point here. So he who ordered him to go to the land of Canaan, and now he is in a place where there's famine. Abram would almost be perfectly justified in saying, God, didn't you send me away from that land that you said you were going to bless me and take care of me, and now there's a famine? So, but we see that Abram doesn't do that, which is important. However, he moves to another thing, which is unusual. Now it came to pass when he drew near to come to Egypt, because they're being pressured out of the land into another land, Egypt, that he said to Sarai, his wife, which another thought in my head is the famine's pressing Abram instead of God saying, go there. I don't see that in the scripture. It's not saying that here. God's not telling him to go to Egypt, which then leads to him playing this part of the fool in his wife, essentially, being told to act like you're my sister so that the Egyptians don't kill me. Whereas if he would have just stayed in the land, I'm curious if God would have provided for Abram in that land and taken care of him. Just thoughts to think about. Now it came to pass when he drew near to come to Egypt that he said to Sarai his wife, Behold, now I know that you are a woman of fair appearance. Here we're going to get into what I think is a little bit crass, but remember, we cannot use historians' fallacy and look back and go, they know what I know now. We just physically can't do that. However, I'm going to try to, say this the best way that I can. So Midrash, until now, states that, until now, he did not recognize her beauty because of the modesty of both of them, but now he recognized her beauty through an incident. Another explanation is customary that through hardship of travel, a person becomes unattractive, but she remained beautiful with her beauty. The simple meaning of this verse, so this is the part that is difficult. Behold now, the time has arrived when we must be concerned about your beauty. I have known already for a long time that you are of fair appearance, but now we are coming among black and ugly people. It's not my phrasing, the brothers of the Cushites, and they are not accustomed to a beautiful woman similar to this. Behold now, my Lord, please turn. So, it's disgusting. I in my personal opinion, I think that his fear is warranted, if that's the case, if this simple meaning is actually what this is reading. But we're going to backtrack just a second, because I keep on thinking about this. I don't know if God led Abram into Egypt. The famine did. It doesn't say that God did. And now Abram is telling his wife to do this thing because he thinks in his head of these people. So, if in my humblest opinion, this right here, we need to remember that sometimes God doesn't have things prepared for us that we shouldn't be going to. And I don't necessarily know that this is the thing that God had planned for Abram, but he does do it. He goes there. He tells his wife to do this stuff. We see that the Egyptians now are they're essentially cursed because of Abram's actions, and I think it comes back to these thoughts, these thoughts that he had, and I disagree with him. I personally disagree with him, but it's neither here nor there. We could read into it that it was simply that, hardship of travel, but somehow she just maintained her beauty. It will come to pass when the Egyptians see you, that they will say, This is his wife, and they will slay me and let you live. Once again, this is assuming that those people will do this, and also assuming that God will not protect Abram. So this is a very disturbing moment in Abram's life. Here's the good news, and this is the thing I think we should take out of this, is that God still, even in Abram's dastardliness, his wickedness in this moment, in my opinion, God still comes through for him, still takes care of him. I say it like this: even in my unfaithfulness, you are faithful. The Lord is always faithful. The Lord will always be faithful. And I think that that's the lesson that we should see here. We should definitely not treat people as such, because it leads to terrible things. Not just for Abram, not just for his wife. Because imagine being his wife now that she's lied, and she's in the bedchamber of Pharaoh, and he's about to, do things with her. And then we're going to learn, so he gets gifts from Pharaoh. So it came to pass when it came to Egypt. It should have said when they came to Egypt, but it teaches us that he had hid her in a trunk, and when they demanded the customs duty, they opened it and saw her. So there's a whole lot of conniving that's going on here. That's kind of not in the English translation part, but it's culturally understood, I guess. Pharaoh's princess saw her and took her to Pharaoh's house. because it's his sister. Like, there's no. Here's another even one thing to think about. This is very important, especially for Christians nowadays. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter nowadays, or if it's Christians, or even if you're not Christian. It is terrible to think that because somebody else isn't of your ilk, your disposition, that they're somehow, worse than you, when they honored the fact that it was his sister and not his wife. Notice this thing is predicated on the idea that the Egyptians will kill him because it's his wife. They'll honor the marriage part because, they'll kill him, but they're still honoring him, or the marriage, because, they're married. So we should never assume that just because somebody is not of our religious disposition or whatever, that they're not able to make moral, evaluations. So anyways, moving forward. So Abraham benefited. So Pharaoh gave him flocks and cattle and donkeys, and men servants and maid servants for his sister, who he thought was his sister. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh with a great plague. So here we go. What I was about to say earlier before I got off on a tangent about what this plague is. Imagine you're, Sarai, you're in the house of Pharaoh, essentially, and in his bedchamber, and he was stricken with a plague of Ra'athan, making intercourse harmful to him. So God protects Sarai in the sense of maintaining his promise. He's still maintaining his promise. That's the other part to this, as well as his household. So this is saying there was some form of plague that descended upon the house of Pharaoh because of the actions of both of them. I'm not sure what to think of this on account of Sarai. According to her words, she would say to the angel, strike, and he would strike. I don't know what to read from that. That's take it or leave it. Maybe she had some type of verbal conjuration or something. Anyways, Pharaoh summoned Abram. There's no moment here where God comes down and speaks to Pharaoh and tells him this is Abram's wife. Pharaoh figures it out on his own, and this is what I was saying earlier. He's not even Pharaoh's. He's not in relationship with God at this moment. It's not like this is a revelation from God. Pharaoh is still moral in this moment, and he said, "What is it that you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife?" He figures it out. And he's like, why did you say she is my sister so that I took her to myself for a wife? Now here's your wife. Take her and go. And Pharaoh in this moment is now being more moral than Abram. So this is a lesson for us all, at least for myself. Why did you say, so take her and go? Not like Abimelech, who said to him, here's my land before you, but Pharaoh said to him, go and do not stay, because the Egyptians are lascivious. I'll let you look that one up, as it is said, and whose issue is the issue of horses. I'll let you figure that one out, whip out a dictionary and look that word up. And Pharaoh commanded men on his behalf, and they escorted him and his wife and all that was his. So all of his manservants, all his maidservants, he didn't even take back the things. I'm not even saying that he took back the things that he gave Abram. He's like, get out and go. I don't want this. For whatever reason you chose to do this, be gone from me. So the final thoughts on this from me. When God promises something, he is faithful. That's the story here. Even in the disturbing ways of man and the things that we can do and the assumptions we can make of each other, God is still faithful. And I lay my trust in that. Proven time and time again throughout history and testaments like this, that even Abram acting such, he came through for Abram, took care of him too. And I think personally some of this will actually come back to haunt the Israelites as they move forward, but that might be reading too much into it as well. But I finished this up. Thank you for listening. I hope that this was insightful, at least in some way, even with its disgustingness in some forms. I'm sure I'm going to face some pretty rough content in the future. I mean, it's the Bible. There's some interesting stuff in it. So anyways, I hope this blessed you. I know it blesses me day in and day out, and hope to see you next time. Thank you for listening in.